Hello everybody and welcome to an unboxing and review of the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Zord Ascension Project Astro Megazord. So yeah, we're in space Astro Megazord. So yeah, the latest and as far as we can tell maybe last, hopefully not last, but we'll see. Megazord in the Zord Ascension Project line for the Lightning Collection. Very surprised that they haven't announced any more ZAP Megazords at this time. You would think that maybe they would, but yeah. At the very least, the other several Mighty Morphin Megazords from seasons 2 and 3, aka from Die Ranger and Kaku Ranger, you would think that they would do something for those, but I guess not. It's really weird. They did want to do, or there was a I think like an investors meeting or something, some sort of presentation down in like South America, I believe it was, where they teased a Zord Ascension project, White Tiger Zord, but I guess they canceled that quietly internally, and we never got an official announcement for it. But yeah, and that's kind of a shame because you would think that they would want to do Mighty Morphin Season 2, you know, and in between doing like mainline Mighty Morphin seasons, doing like one-off Megazords that don't really have much in the way of all those moving parts that the ZAP Dino Megazord did, but something more like the ZAP Dragon Zord, where it's one piece or a couple pieces and they can just focus on the articulation and the transforming abilities of them. But yeah, although granted, can't really think of too many examples in Power Rangers where they have Megazords like that. But if they wanted to, they could do the Season 2 Megazord, or the Thunder Megazord, and the White Tiger Zord, and then in between that and Season 3 stuff, the Ninja stuff, they could easily just do the other in-space Megazord. But yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, someone will probably say it in the comments. But yeah, you would think that they would do that, but I guess not. Huh. In the ZAP line, I would love to see, like, in regards, the ZAP line, but also the Lightning Collection line as well. I would love to see the main Wild Force Megazords at the very least. I'd like to see the other 4 Rangers adapted into Lightning Collection figures as well. Really surprised that they didn't do that. And then also Time Force. I am very surprised. That is like probably the last fan favorite season that they really need to do for the Lightning Collection line. And I'm very surprised that those 2 seasons in particular only have 2 Ranger figures and no ZAP Megazords. But yeah, and I would definitely love to get ZAP versions of the Megazords from both those seasons, especially Wild Force, because I think Wild Force had a really good like Zord line, but yeah, / Gal Ranger, but yeah, and Time Ranger for Time Force, but yeah, may have something to do with nostalgia because I grew up with Wild Force, like it was one of the first seasons that I saw mostly in full, but yeah. But here we go for the Zord Ascension Project, Astro Megazord. Enough preamble. So yeah, the box, as far as I can figure, is a little bit more, maybe fatter. I don't know what the right word is, but like maybe the width is a bit bigger. And I'm looking at the my closet. I have the other 2 ZAP things. It looks like it's about as wide as the ZAP Dragon Zord box. Maybe about as or about as tall as maybe a little bit taller than the ZAP Dino Megazord. But yeah. And I got this on a sale on Hasbro Pulse because they were having their every so often they'll have like 25% if you're not a member, I believe, but then 30% if you are a member on Hasbro Pulse. But yeah, or the Hasbro Pulse Premium Memberships, whatever it's called. But yeah, so I got this for like, I think 25% off, which was a good deal. This is $166 on Hasbro Pulse. These are not worth, I would say, over 125. At most, these should be like 100. At the very least, I understand why they charge at least like, I don't know, like 60 to 75 bucks. I don't understand why they charge over 100. I don't think that these are worth it, unfortunately. But if you can get these for a decent discount, like I did, I got it for like 134 after tax, but the discount brought it down to like 124, 25, something like that. If you can get it for a decent discount like that, then it's probably worth it. But yeah, which I really hate that Hasbro Pulse US can't give us decent discounts, because I know Hasbro Pulse UK in the last several months discounted this thing to about £50, which is like 60-some dollars. That is more of the price I expect for something like this. But yeah. So, yeah, just on the front, like the other two boxes, you have the head of the Megazord right here, which is pretty cool. The Zord Ascension Project logo right here, with the Z being embossed. They adapted the Z from G-Ranger, which I believe the Z as well is why they call it Zords, as well as Zordon, to have that sort of there, so they didn't have to like either remold stuff on the morphers or get rid of stuff in regards to the Sentai footage at the time. But yeah, and they've had to do that over and over again in the most recent years with certain things like I think the G in Go-Onger for RPM, as well as the I think GB or just G for Go Busters in Beast Morphers. But yeah. And they just had to explain what that means. They had to give it an actual thing. For RPM, they just did Project Go-Onger, which was this like high-tech RV, and in in Beast Morphers they did a Grid Battle Force. So yeah, stuff like that. They just have to try and roll with. So yeah, and in space, because it's based on Mega Ranger, you have certain things, mainly with like Zane's Morpher saying Mega when he puts in the code to morph in his Morpher. But yeah. And this is MZ0602. I did not point this out, I believe, in the Dino Megazord and Dragon Zord reviews. But these codes are meant to represent what episode and season these Megazords debuted in Power Rangers canon. So it says Megazord, and then Season 6, Episode 2. So, yeah. It says In Space Astro Megazord, Power Rangers Lightning Collection logo, Hasbro logo. It says up here, plastic-free packaging and 15+, because these are meant for collectors and older fans. So, yeah. Bottom of the box just has a bunch of legal information and whatever else. It says 1/44th, or 1 to 1/44th, or 1 to 144 scale model. And they are scaling these apparently to these like miniature sets that they don't sell for some reason, but yeah. Which is fine. It's just kind of a weird way to go with it though. And they do, I think, look up on like either Ranger Wiki or in like encyclopedias or something like that, or whatever materials they can get from Toei or Bandai Japan, what the sizes of these things are. So yeah, relative to each other. And that's an interesting way to go about it. But yeah, it's not the way that Bandai usually goes with it, but you know. Then right on top here, you got the Z right there. It says MZ0602. Side right here with the comic book style artwork for the In Space Astro Megazord with the Power Rangers Lightning Collection logo. And on the other side, you got a render of the Megazord with an outstretched hand, which is pretty nice. You can see where I took the tape off that keeps the slip cover on the box. Then on the back here, We have a full render of the Megazord that is embossed, which is pretty nice. Whatever the hell, I think these are vents up here are embossed. The Z is embossed right here. It says 37 centimeters or 14.5 inches. So the In Space logo is right there and it's embossed, minus the Saban part, of course. That's very interesting that they've taken to just uninclude the Saban part of the Power Rangers logos. But yeah, then you got all the accessories that comes with the sword, the shield, the gun, and all the different hands, all the different Ranger minis that this comes with. In this case, it's them all doing their signature pose. Hands are kind of weird though, because they do like this instead of having all 5 outstretched fingers like they do in the poses, but whatever. Corresponds to both In Space and Mega Ranger, because again, Sentai footage. The Astro megaship itself, which is coded as Z0601, because it appeared in the first episode of In Space. And then the ship right here, and it says Z0545 because it appeared in Turbo first, in the 45th episode of Turbo, which was Season 5. Then you got the opening flaps right here for where they have also put Ranger minis for both the Nasada spaceship and the Astro megaship itself. So yeah, that is actually really good. I like that. I've never had any In Space anything really, so this is the first In Space thing just in general that I've had. So in terms of the box, you got this uncovered, which part of it's usually covered up by like the schematic blueprint design at the front, but now you can see it in its full glory and it looks nice. I do think that the packaging is really good on these. Doesn't make them worth a damn, but yeah. So then we got the Z right here. I wondered where the other tape was when I was removing it right before I started filming this, on the top and bottom. You guys can see it without removing the slipcover. Should have taken more care for that. And that's also the thing I hate. I hate that the tape, because of how sticky it is, takes the outer part of the paper, or not paper, but like, you know what I mean, stuff off if you pull it off too quickly or you're not careful. Yeah. So on the back here, you have a nice blue, like, what is the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean, the blue, like, the shiny blue that they have on here. And then they have the Z, which is reverse embossed. That's really, really cool. So yeah. And you can tell that I haven't opened this yet because of the tape. But yeah. And here we go. Inside you got more comic book style artwork with the Megazord fighting a Clipter. So that's really good. Oh yeah, and then there's a barcode on the top here for the website that they set up for this, but I don't know if it's still going, because there was some weirdness with that. Then on the bottom you got the Z right there. So, yeah. So then on the inside here you got this, which is actually really cool. It kind of represents, I'm assuming, the like, panels that you'd probably see on the Astro megaship while it's in use, and it kind of actually it kind of like looks like it. Granted, it's probably based on real stuff, but like it reminds me of Star Trek, the original series mainly, which In Space and more so like Lost Galaxy take a bit of it, or take some amount of influence from Star Trek, but also Star Wars. But yeah, where it mixes like a space opera in with the sci-fi. So, yeah. But yeah, you got really, really cool details in this, and they're also really, really shiny, which is nice. And you got here schematic sort of for the Megazord itself, which is really cool. Mode Zord. Power, laser ready, sword ready, shield ready, loading. So it's basically just input commands, which is really cool. Let's take this off. And we have this, the actual Megazord itself. We got the instructions on how to transform it. Looks like legal information as well. So yeah, just schematics of how to transform everything, in case you don't know. Yeah. So I'm just gonna open that in a bit. Just gonna open these additional bags first. Alright, man. I've seen videos of this, but videos do not do justice to how big this shit is. You got this sword, which I swear is almost a foot long. Like, what the fuck? That's honestly really cool. One thing I do like about the scale for these, even though I don't necessarily think it's maybe the best way to go about it, is the fact that, you know, these are pretty interesting in regards to that. So, yeah. So, I think I know what this is. Okay, so this is the gun. For this thing. Okay. Just trying to figure out the best way to put these. So yeah, and then God damn. This is a pain in the ass. Alright. Alright, so just basically the gun mode for it, which that is freaking huge as well. Okay, so this is the bag with the... I don't understand why this bag is so big, but... It's a bag with the 5 Ranger figures, which... Okay, so red's good, pink is good, black is good, yellow's good, and blue is good. So, all 5 of them are good in regards to the molds. So yeah, and it's partly why I don't get these things at launch, other than the price. When it comes to the ZAP Megazords, because it's just like, it doesn't, I don't know. It's also a better way for sale. I've gotten all of these on sale, so it's like, yeah. At least I think I have. I can't remember if I got the ZAP Dragonzord on sale, but I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah. Okay. And then we got the Nasada spaceship. Okay, that's not good, unless if I'm just not doing this right, which I might not be. Okay, that just doesn't wanna... This shit just doesn't wanna close for some reason. So that's some bullshit. I've seen in other people's reviews this goes pretty flush. So I'm just not doing it right. Yeah. I think it's supposed to go completely like that, but it doesn't want to stay closed. So that's annoying. Like, I understand that, like, you're probably gonna have this in the Megazord mode, but yeah. So yeah, that's actually pretty nice. Otherwise, though, I think the amount of detail is pretty good. Here we go. Just lift that up. See all 5 of the main 5 Rangers of the team. Some detail. You got a sticker right there for the back paneling, which is interesting. Hold on 1 second, guys. Because the iPod I'm using to fucking record this is on 20% battery. And then I accidentally pressed the button to make shit stop recording. But yeah, so minus the problem of the midsection of the ship not going flush with each part, which again is just annoying, that honestly looks pretty good. So yeah, that's just annoying. I don't know if anyone else has had that problem, but the videos I've seen, a lot of people have. So yeah. So then move this bottom section of the box out of the way. And we have extra hands, which are freaking huge. 2 more splayed open hands, and then 2 grip hands for the sword, the blaster, and the shield if you'd like to pose it like that. Come on. Just getting all these little things out of the way so I can just have a clear space here. And here we go. And that one, this feels like plastic. I'm pretty sure this is plastic. Here we go. With the In-Space Astro Megazord, or Mega Ship. There we go. Alright. Dude, this is freaking huge, man. Just trying to get these things the best they can be. So yeah, just the good thing is it does have wheels, on the bottom, so you can roll it around, which is pretty nice. They did take a lot of cues from the original Bandai version, which makes sense, because it was really the only thing that they had to base anything off of, unlike the Dino Megazord and the Dragon Sword. Yeah, dude, this is freaking huge, man. A lot of good detail as well. I think that this is where the chrome really shines, because, yeah, the silver chrome and then the, what looks like red chrome, or whatever the hell this is, for the M. But yeah, that is honestly really nice. So you got the bottom. And yeah. I think okay. And then okay. Okay. Put that in there. Okay, that's keeping it pretty well. Okay, so we have the things on it with the big cannon that goes under it, and the two rockets, I guess, on the side. And then okay, so bring out what are gonna be the feet on the Megazord. Put this in there. Bring these down. Oh my god. And then, okay, so I clip this out. And you have the Astro Megaship in its dock. Or not Megaship, the spaceship in its dock. And you have the Astro Megazord all freaking complete. Now, trying to remember where exactly the Rangers are on this thing. Okay, so they're under the M. There we go. That came out for no reason. Okay, so just to show that, you got a little representation of the main bridge of the ship. No stickers, but there's some molded detail. And each of the 5 Rangers is, or are, painted. Which, yeah. But that is really nice. I do like that. Like, we're so inundated with, like, Mighty Morphin stuff, and I'm used to the Wild Force / Gal Ranger stuff, that it's nice to have something a bit more simple and more technological than fantasy-based in regards to these things. And I know that that's more of a fault of the Sentai, because starting from Zyuranger, they really started to go in a more fantasy-type setting, or fantasy-type route, where the majority of the seasons that came after Jetman were more fantasy-based than, like, science-fiction-based. They would sometimes go back to the sci-fi route, like with Mega Ranger, with Time Ranger, Deca Ranger, Go Busters, and so on. Most of the time, though, they lean in a more fantasy type direction, in which case they do different types of fantasies every year. But yeah, but just to say this is just honestly really good. I love just the simplicity of the design, but also like this is where I feel like the additional like molding and everything comes in handy for this line when it's more tech based, because it just goes with the main designs from the Sentai that Bandai came up with back in, well, in this case, 1997 or 1996, whenever they were coming up with designs and stuff for Mega Ranger. I felt it was a little unnecessary on the Dino Megazord and maybe the Dragonzord, but the Dragonzord didn't have as much like added detail to it as far as I can tell, outside of the main shield part. The Dino Megazord, though, didn't necessarily need, especially the T-Rex, did not need as much added detail in the molding as it did, or as it got. But granted, they are robots in the show, but granted, also, they're very simplistic designs. But because Mega Ranger and In Space were very tech-based in regards to their stuff, because Mega Ranger was a video game and device-themed Sentai, which is why it's very tech-based, it goes a long way to have all the extra like molding and detail on something like this. This honestly looks like you could use it as a prop for shooting, in space scenes, and it'd be fine. And if this were to get reused in, say, like an in space reunion special or something like that, like Mighty Morphin got, which I doubt that they will, but if they wanted to, I think that using this for the CGI model, because they would obviously have the stuff, and they got the Legacy Dino Megazord specs or CGI model from Hasbro. So if Hasbro were to give them this to use for an in-space thing, this would honestly be a lot better. Granted, if they got more time also to work on the CGI, because the CGI in the Once and Always special was not great, and they did admit to that. I think Simon Bennett did talk about how they didn't have enough time to properly do a lot of the CGI, so yeah. But yeah, and the added like chrome to the silver and the added like shine to the M right here, it just honestly makes it just the presentation of this just looks so much better than I would say the Dino Megazord got. But granted, also Dino Megazord, I don't know. I'm just so used to it by now because of all the Mighty Morphin nostalgia bait that this franchise tends to get, unfortunately. But yeah, and that's Bandai's fault. It's not Hasbro's, but still, Hasbro has to lean into it because Mighty Morphin sells the most. So yeah, in regards to merch. So yeah, but this is just so good. I love this. I love this so much. But yeah, and from what I've seen in regards to other people's videos where they have the original version of this from the 90s, whether it's the Mega Ranger version or the Power Rangers version, this is just, like, I think at least twice as big as that one. So yeah. Man, I just don't want to transform this. It looks really fucking good, but gotta transform it into the Megazord mode. So let's do that. Believe I can do this. Oh, and these guns just move, which is pretty nice, in case you want to like role play with it or whatever. So take these rockets off, which that feels like it's gonna chip at some point. I don't like that. Yeah, you can tell they just basically cut this off of a 3D printer because this shit stayed on. Whereas the other one does not have it, because the person who cut those off managed to do it pretty flush with the one, but not the other. Alright. So then Bring these out. Take the shield off. Leave that for a second. Yeah. Take this out. Swear half the time shit like this feels like it's gonna break. Alright. I don't really like the design of this at all. Because... Alright, move up these flaps. That's what that was. Okay. Because you gotta rotate these. Okay, so you gotta rotate these about 90 degrees. Or a little. Okay, you gotta rotate the top things where the joints are about 180, and then rotate the lower parts of the legs themselves about 90 degrees. Which is, whatever. Alright. Pretty simplistic transformation. Which I actually do appreciate the simplicity of this, because ooh, we get really kind of, not necessarily over-designed, but like a lot of like moving parts with multiple things. So yeah, just have the body without the head. Man, I also very much, actually now looking back, I kind of more appreciate 90s Sentai, like, toy design over, like, 2000s on when it comes to, like, stuff like this. So, okay. Peg that in there. Right. And then, and just put that in there, and then the back part of the spaceship pegs into there. And I don't think there's anything else. So we got it, the Astro Megaship in Megazord mode, or just Astro Megazord in Megazord mode. And this is really cool. So yeah, rather than doing like movable fingers on these things, they do, or they still opted to do the hands. On the one hand, it's whatever. On the other, it's just like, why not do movable fingers on one hand and save yourselves the time and money needed to make things out of plastic. But yeah. Okay. And then, sorry guys, just needing to have this closer to me because I can't get in front of it on camera. Okay. that didn't click on, but whatever. So, yeah. So, yeah, just changed out the hands on it. And then I thought one of those was going to fall on the ground, on the floor. With the sword. In the hand. Which need a good amount of force to get it in there. And then you can take this right here. Connect it. And then put it in the other hand. Come on. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to. This is the hand, which I guess that works. You know, it's. And that's slightly off, that's whatever. Like in terms of angle, it's slightly off. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could have them with the sword and the gun. Keeps coming out. So then, yeah. So then we have the shield right here, of which, I think that's it. Whatever. So you have the shield ready, and you can have the handle come out. Put the handle in there. So you can have it with the Astro Mega ship, or Astro Megazord with the sword and shield. Or if you want to have them holding a mix of the sword, the gun, and the shield, there's this little piece right here, which I think is what has a clip onto the underside when it's in ship form. But you can have it clip onto the wheel here. And have it just stick there like that, similar to someone like Captain America. That's honestly really cool. I like that amount of thought that they put into it. Or maybe it's just a side effect. I don't know. But I'm assuming they did think about it when designing this thing. Okay. But yeah. Just rotate that. And there we go. So you can have all three, which is good. And then just I can't remember which order these things go in, so I'm just gonna do it like this. So, yeah, I take this out of the tripod. And here we have the Astro Megazord. Got the little mini figures. And yeah. So, overall, what are my thoughts? Well, I actually very much do like this thing. This was always going to be an interesting thing, where, you know, after we'd see what they do after the, or with anything else but the Mighty Morphin stuff, because, and some people like to romanticize, at least the tail end, I think, of the Bandai era of Power Rangers. The Bandai era of Power Rangers, towards the end, was not good. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it was not good whatsoever. When it comes to the Bandai era, they kept getting lazier and lazier with adapting the Sentai toy designs and coming up with other things to include in the shows to base merch on, and you can see what the fuck is it called? The Master Morpher right behind there. But yeah, in all honesty, I'm actually really glad that Saban decided to go with Hasbro rather than keep with Bandai after 2017. To me, it just kind of brought a new energy to things and everything. However, within the last few years, since the guy who actually cared about the brand of Power Rangers and got Hasbro to buy it from Saban outright, I think he left the company, got let go, or died. I can't remember what I've heard. It's true, but he's not with the company anymore. After he just wasn't with the company anymore, things started to go a bit downhill, and I think that that's a thing with the Power Rangers brand, because Hasbro did not create it themselves. They adopted it and bought it from Hasbro, or from first Bandai, I guess, technically, and then Saban. I would like to see them continue this, because I think it actually is pretty good in regards to the ZAP line. And there's also something I need to show off. So, on some people that I've seen, at the very least people who got like the first wave of these earlier this year, for one of these clip ports, they, like, the factory screwed up somewhere with a bunch of them, and a bunch of these, and these were like pushed more closely together so that the port for that was just not good. And on top of that, some people had like broken parts at places. I can happily say that, yeah, neither of these on mine is broken or misdone or whatever. Not misdone, but like really badly done. So it looks like they've probably fixed those QC issues with this wave of them. So if you have not gotten this yet and you were holding off, I'd say now is probably the best time to get one of these, because it looks like maybe they fixed some of the QC issues. But yeah, but in terms of the Bandai stuff, it's like I can see Bandai doing something like this, but Bandai was very heavily stuck in doing only Mighty Morphin stuff. Granted, they did start to branch out to other things before they ultimately lost the toy license for Power Rangers. They started doing the Zeonizers and the Gold Power Staff from Zeo, and I think some other things. And they had done the original Dino Megazord, which they what did they do? They did a few different times. One for the 2010 re-edit of Mighty Morphin, and then for the Legacy version, and everything. Then they licensed out shit to Solve Chogokin or Chogokin, for a version they did, which had like die-cast metal, or not die-cast metal, but like, die-cast metal, and stuff like that. That made it heavier and cost a lot more, for the Mighty Morphin Dino Megazord / Daijujin, as well as the Dragon Zord. Cannot remember off the top of my head what it's called in G-Ranger. And then Titanus. So, yeah. Then they did the Thunder Megazord and the Tiger Zord, but from what I've heard from it was a Power Ranger Tube, when he was talking about that, apparently they didn't really, it seemed like they didn't really design the Thunder Megazord and the White Tiger Zord, the Legacy versions, to combine that well for some reason. Like, they did one and then did the other and didn't think about how they were gonna like combine until like they got most of the way through like prototyping and whatever and saw the problems, and then added quote unquote fixes after that. Then they did the Ninja Mega Falcon Zord, which is, they did the Megazord by itself and then the Legacy Falcon Zord by itself. I still need the Legacy Falcon Zord because I have the main 5 Zords from it. But yeah, and then it just looked like they were probably going to reset to Mighty Morphin Season 1 again, even though they were starting to move on to Zeo stuff. Hasbro has given us a lot of, what is the word I'm looking for? A lot of variety with the Lightning Collection line. I know a lot of people like to shit on Hasbro for the QC issues, but here's also the thing: Bandai also did not have a lot of like great things in terms of QC. Granted, less QC issues in terms of molds and stuff, in a lot of cases than Hasbro, but they did have their own faults, and they did keep defaulting to Mighty Morphin stuff. And I get it. Mighty Morphin, nostalgia bait, brings in the most money in terms of Power Rangers outside of the, I guess, newer stuff, the main stuff for that year, or in some cases for 2 years. But let's be completely honest, it just was a repeating cycle with Bandai, and I didn't see it breaking anytime soon. Hasbro, at the very least, while they've played up to the Mighty Morphin nostalgia that a lot of older fans from the 90s had, they have tried to give us a good variety for other fans who did not grow up with Mighty Morphin and do not see it as the best of Power Rangers, because it's not, but yeah. In Space, I think, was a good way to go in regards to starting up stuff like this. They got all 5 of the Lightning Collection Zeo Ranger figures, or not Zeo, In Space Range, which, I'm not lying there, but I meant In Space. They got all 5 of the In Space Rangers out. The first non-Mighty Morphin Megazord that they did in the ZAP line was the Astro Megaship from In Space. This, I think, it was a good first step into this. I honestly wish they would just continue with the Zord Ascension Project line, maybe scale back how many Lightning Collection figures that they do, or do more 5-packs every year, as opposed to every couple of years, because they did the Psycho Rangers, then I know the Alien Rangers, they did the 4-pack of the comic exclusive Omega Rangers and everything, and then they did 2-packs of other teams. Like, they did 2-packs of things that make sense, like Andros and Astronema, Lost Galaxy Red and Psycho Red, and then the Ninja Turtles Power Rangers figures from the comics. They did 2-packs of those outside of Shredder. But yeah, and then other things here and there, like In Space Blue and Psycho Silver, and then other things here and there. Some things for Mighty Morphin, some things for Zeo. And I think they did a good mix and match of like fan favorite stuff, maybe some less fan favorite stuff. Granted, they did not get everything in regards to fan favorite seasons out as figures, as I was talking about earlier. I think that they really should have finished Wild Force and Time Force. They should have finished RPM because that's another fan favorite season. And just moved on to the other teams that maybe aren't necessarily fan favorites, but still would be nice to have in the Lightning Collection line. And the ZAP line, I think if they stuck to like 1 or 2 Megazords based on a certain season per year, that they could definitely do and do well. Like I would say the Astro Megazord here. They could have a good strategy right there. And then for the Lightning Collection, mix and match like fan favorite seasons and maybe some non-fan favorite seasons. Have like 1 or 2 non-fan favorite seasons, and then the rest be like 3 or 4 fan favorite seasons for which to base Lightning Collection figures off of, so you're balanced there. And then also lower the price of the ZAP Megazord. The figures I can mostly handle, even though I don't think that the prices for those are good either. But lower the price of the ZAP Megazords. These are now worth $165 at least fucking dollars. Or in the case of the Dragon Zord, it's like, I think 120 something. These are not worth that money. Like, I know you want to make back on your investment into this franchise, but at the same time, you gotta price things efficiently so people will actually buy your shit. I'm sorry, but it's just like, that's just the obvious thing here. I like the work that they do for the ZAP line. It's just that it's not worth over, I would say, $120 fucking dollars. At most, these should be $120. Granted, I think also at most these should be like $75. But yeah, but yeah, and also a thing I didn't mention before. This has a good amount of weight to it. I can admit, and some other people have said this as well. The ZAP Dino-Megazord and Dragon Zord were too light. They weigh less, I believe, than the original 90s versions of those toys. Whereas this actually has a good amount of heft to it. And that is good. It weighs like what you'd expect it to, and it doesn't feel lightweight. But yeah, so I don't necessarily know what else I'll be getting in terms of Lightning Collection. Maybe I'll do some stuff next year where I'll dive into the stuff I haven't gotten, like the 2-pack of the comic color swap Mighty Morphin Rangers. Maybe the Cobra Kai and Street Fighter crossover figures. Maybe I'll invest in the main 5 Psycho Rangers, which, please, Hasbro, use next year when you have off from making a new Power Ranger show or movie to do reprints or reissues of some of the more, or either some of the older or some of the more hard to get, more limited Lightning Collection stuff, because that would be the best time to do it. I would love to see the 5-pack of the Psycho Rangers brought back and maybe given a wider release than just Amazon. But if Amazon's the only way to go with that, that's fine. But I'd love to have the Psycho Rangers 5-pack, because I was gonna get that, then it went out of print or out of circulation, and I couldn't buy it for the $100 it was worth. I understand it would probably be 120 now. That would be fine, but like, to me at the very least, because it'd be $20 each, I think. Actually, no, like $25 each, probably, somewhere in there. But yeah, or I guess 24, whatever. But yeah, it's like, I would love to see that. Also, Psycho Green. Oh, and Dino Charge Black. Dino Charge Black should be given a wider release, because just having that at Target, pain in the ass. And I paid like twice as much as I should have to get that, because I didn't know that was out as well. Got to also circulate the news for these things on your social medias, for either the Power Rangers social media or the Hasbro one, or both. But yeah, if there are any suggestions I would give for future Megazords, I would love to see Wild Force adapted into this. Maybe SPD would be a good one to go with. SPD, I feel, would be great, especially like the Swap Megazord. I could see that going really well, and the main one. I can see that going well with the over-designed nature of how they do the molds for these. So, yeah. But I don't know what else I could say. Also, maybe Ninja Storm, maybe Dino Thunder, maybe Time Force. Just the stuff that I think would go really well in the ZAP line, they should do first. Like the more tech-based stuff, I think would be great, as well as the stuff that has really good designs, like the Wild Force / Gal Ranger stuff. But yeah, I didn't get the SMP stuff for Gal Ranger for no reason. But yeah. So, yeah, just do stuff that hasn't been in circulation for a very long time in any of the toy lines from the past, like, decade or two. That's my best advice to Hasbro. So, yeah. So, guys, yeah, if you want to get this, get it while it's on sale. If you miss the current sale, or if it's not still going, wait for the next one. But yeah, or see if you can find a site where they're selling this for way cheaper than what Hasbro is on Hasbro Pulse. But yeah. So yeah, not much else to say, so link description, all my shit, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next one.